Hello Fire Emblem fans, my name is Mekkah and you're watching my Fire Emblem 5 Thracia 776 Iron Man playthrough, Chapter 17A, the second part of the route split, Leinster's Gates. Let's get into it. Alright, short and sweet, but we got some more dialogue to come up. That's pretty long. I'm not going to show you the preps or anything like usual. If you haven't noticed yet, this is post-commentary. I knew from the start this was not going to be a live commentary one. It's just so long. But I'm going to talk all about that right after this story introduction. The long one. Alright, so too long didn't read. A lot of armies, lots of enemies, lots of bosses. We'll talk about them in depth soon. Just one more quick story thing. That's where you're wrong, August. That's where you're wrong. Okay, so huge map. The first thing we gotta deal with is this Dark Bishop Moore. He has a warp staff and a fortify and a Fenrir. It's really annoying. Mostly the warp because he can warp all these other mages and they can attack me then because they haven't used up their turn unlike the rewarp mages. Then you got Misha, the leader of the Pegasus squad. They're NPCs, but they will fight you just like the Thracian mercenaries. You can like recruit Misha. Unfortunately though, you need Karen to do that. If you do have Karen, it is possible. Then there's this guy. Nikarf, he made an appearance last chapter, but now he actually has weapons. He's also a pretty big pain in the butt with his 5 leadership stars and a Master X. I still have PTSD from the last Master up in general. Anyway, so we gotta deal with Moore. Apparently I'm showing my units off. I forgot why. I think I'm just checking stats a whole lot. Anyway, so to deal with Moore, the general best way to deal with him is to put him to sleep, but Safi doesn't have enough magic to do that, so I give her a magic up boost with Lanoan. Or at least I try, but she misses, so what I gotta do now is make sure that someone else can use magic up, but I only have one, so I use this little trade with Marita, and we can just magic up from there. I brought Homer along because, you know, I lost my Sage and I'd like a new one that's pretty good, and Homer is like pretty easy to promote. You get another potential Sage in this chapter, but she's very fragile, and Homer actually gets quite a bit of bulk as long as he levels up quite a few times. Like, he's not like tanky or anything, but he can take a couple hits, more than the other Sage you get at least. So now Safi has enough magic, she has 21, Moore only has like 15, so we can put him to sleep, and we'll just leave him there. Selecting an enemy to sleep or silence or status with whatever is so annoying in this game, by the way. You probably noticed it when I was using a Thief Staff with Tina. in the last chapter. You gotta scroll through like all these enemies, and it's not any faster going from the bottom either. It's really annoying. I like how it shows the modified magic stat in the level up screen. Makes your unit look so good. But yeah, so this map is like so huge, and like August said, the mercenaries, the Pegasus Knights in the upper left make it kind of tough, even if you've dealt with more. But what's making it even more tough is all the potential reinforcements. So there's like a group of Mage Knights coming in from like turn 12 or something, under the leadership of a guy called Muller, and they all have Thoron. There's Sias, I think that's what this chapter is most famous for. He's like a tactician, and with Thracia's beautiful story integration with the gameplay, Sias is like upping morale, and when he appears, like all the enemies start to move towards you. They build a bridge, and they have like gigantic hit rates because Sias has massive 10 leadership stars. But then this, like, it's just so annoying to deal with all these guys at once, and usually you would warp skip this map, but I can't do that because I lost my only means to warp skip in Asphalt. So I gotta do this a long way, and I figured the best way to do this is to take care of Misha right away. Have someone divert them before they get to me, because all these Pegasus Knights, they have horse slayers and javelins, so they're kind of tough to deal with on enemy phase. A lot of my units are mounted, and dismounting them, it's like, it doesn't really make them lose against these Pegasus Knights, but it's just so tedious. And, you know, they can get in an annoying position. Misha also has a movement star, which makes her kind of unpredictable. She has a wind sword that I would have liked to get, but in order to capture a mother unit, you need to put them to sleep. So normally the way you recruit Misha is by, you gotta talk to her with Karen, and you gotta put her to sleep, and then you gotta capture her and hold on to her for the entirety of the chapter. And it's pretty tough to guess. I mean, you can kind of guess that you need to capture her and keep her in your hand. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this, but I'm speeding up parts of this chapter. Most of it, in fact, because if not, I would have to talk for like 3 hours, honestly. So I thought this level of speed up was pretty acceptable. It's like 130%. The music sounds kind of funky to me. I actually kind of like it. Not Laura's music, but the music still annoys me, but I keep forgetting to turn the animation off. But yeah, I think the music actually sounds pretty funny this way. If you disagree, whatever. If it's really annoying, you just let me know, and I'll do it less so in the next episode of this. I don't know, I just think it sounds different. I'm kind of tired of hearing the same music over again, even though it's like one of my favorite tracks. All the tracks are really good, but this track just really annoys me. But yeah, the enemies near the starting point are just pretty easy to kill for Homer. It's like soldiers and mages, and even though Homer doesn't double because he's getting weighed down by all these tomes, it's pretty easy to get the kills, but it takes a while, so that's why the chapter took so long. Yeah, these enemies are like really inconsistent AI-wise. Sometimes they attack, sometimes they don't. It's really weird. And in this case, only Misha decided to attack, and everyone else is like just chilling around Orson. It's not that they don't have enough attack to hurt him. They can just use the Horse Slayer, and they will have a like... I don't think they have 1 hit on him. Yeah, they have like 11 hit. So I don't know why they're not attacking. Maybe because the leader is dead? Maybe that's it. I don't really know how to work. But yeah. So anyway, I'll finish talking about this map, and then we gotta talk about something else important. So I mentioned Sias and the 10 leadership stars. He comes like turn 10 and leaves turn 15, but the 5 turns that he is there is like absolute hell. Your fuck music starts playing because the game knows you're fucked. You can't beat 10 leadership stars, especially on top of the 5 leadership that Nikarv provides. I still hate that name, Nikarv, it's so stupid. So that's 15 leadership stars you're up against. You can't really like compensate for that in any way. Like, to put it in perspective, Leaf has 2 leadership stars because he has August and what's the other guy's name? Dorias with him? Dorias, whatever. And he got like Finn and Glade. So we have 4 leadership stars against their 15. We can't beat that. So yeah, we'll talk more about that in depth when it happens, because I can like hype it up in advance, but it really just serves you better to just see it for yourself. If you put the Dark Bishop to sleep, it's not that big of a threat. The portion of the map can be ignored mostly. I just gotta be a bit careful. There are Dark Mage reinforcements that are coming from the upper right too. They also start coming like turn 10. So turn 10 is really like the deadline. At that point I need to have my formation ready for when the shitstorm comes, and I just need to be prepared for everything that's going to come at me. It's a lot of at once, and I can't say I prepared for it perfectly, but I think I did an okay job. But turn 10 is pretty far away, so in the meantime I just try to feed as many kills as I can to Homer with the help of Nana. Nana provides both charisma and a support bonus to Homer, and Homer has a 5% critical, so if he doubles, he will usually crit, since Thunder has 10 crit. It's just his magic is pretty low, and he actually had a pretty tough time growing magic in this chapter too. That was pretty tedious. But yeah, I guess this is the part where I should talk about what happens. Because something happens, and I'm not very proud of it. Okay, so this is kind of like when Ephraim is talking to Noel at the end of like chapter 14 of Sacred Stones. And Noel's like, let me start at the part where the Emperor died, and Ephraim's like, what? I literally just fought the Emperor, what are you talking about? Okay, so I hate saying this every bit as you're gonna hate hearing it, but I reset my game when playing this chapter earlier. Not just once, I reset twice. And I'm not proud of it, and I shouldn't have done it, and I regret every bit of it. Yeah, like I fucking hate myself for doing it. But I did it, and not telling you guys would not feel right to me. So let me just tell you what happened, okay? So I was like all ready to play this game. Like I had like strategies mentally prepared, and I was like so hyped. And I was like, this chapter is gonna be, well, it's not gonna be fun, it's gonna be tedious as shit, but you know, I'm gonna do a post-commentary. I knew I was gonna do a post-commentary. There's no way I was gonna do this one live and like make it out alive with all my guys. So I was just, you know, things were going okay. I was sending up Dean towards the north, and he was like, I don't know, blocking the Pegasus Knights. I think they were refusing to attack him. Everything was going fine. Then I moved Dean in what I thought was a safe position, but it was actually the edge of the cliff with all the Dark Mages. And then it was actually an enemy phase where I noticed, hey, this Dark Mage can attack him. And then this Dark Mage can also attack him. And even if he dodges this one, there's a third one that's going to attack him, and he just straight up died. I was like, god damn it. Something snapped. I was like, shit. I just got Dean killed. That's like, if you count Misha, that's 4 flyers that I'm getting killed. And all the flyers are getting killed because of my stupid mistakes. And they were like mistakes below my level almost. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm an amazing Fire Emblem player or anything. Like, you'll never hear me say that. Like, I think I'm okay. But that was such a dumb mistake. That was like, it was so bad. And I felt so bad for Dean. I felt so bad for these characters, and I felt so bad for like everything. Like, and this is all happening in like 1 or 2 split seconds or something, and I was like, fuck it, we're not doing this. And I just turned the game off. I just said, fuck, we're not playing this. And I sound like kind of cheerful when I was saying this, kind of like jokey, but I was actually legitimately pissed off. I was like staring at my screen like, god damn it. And now I just turned off my game, and I like deleted the footage. I was like, fuck it, this didn't happen. And I was like, but it did happen, and you can't just hide it. That's like scummy, we don't do that. I was like, god damn, I was so mad. I was just so mad. Because like, dude, I got Ronan killed, I got Asphalt killed, those hurt. Like, this sucked so much. But at least like Asphalt, I could say I got unlucky, and I like, it was a calculated risk. I was like, okay, Asphalt might get killed, but if it works, which it mostly will, it will make the video a lot less tedious to play, and it will make it more fun to watch. So I thought it was a reasonable risk to take. It didn't end up paying off, that's fine. But somehow all these deaths, like, it kind of got to me. The game kind of got to me. Kaga got me, basically. It's like, it just broke me. And I was like, whatever, we'll let it slide once, alright? We'll just replay this chapter, we'll be like transparent on it, about it or something, we'll just play again. So I was very carefully like moving Dean around the cliff, making sure he wasn't gonna get killed. And you know, it's just being like, you know, I thought I had it, and I had him at the north, and he was like walling the Pegasus Knights, and they weren't daring to attack him, kind of like they were just hugging Orson, not attacking. I was like, alright, you can just hold him up, kill 1 per turn, so whatever, he'll be fine. So he had like this whole bunch of green Pegasus Knights around him, and they were like not doing anything. So I thought, yeah, okay, this is fine, this is fine. And then they all started attacking him, like literally all of them, just one after the other. And you know, Dean's avoid is like decent, but it's not enough to like reliably dodge, so he got hit a lot. And he died to Misha. Like, Misha of all people killed him. So Dean died again. For the second time. at that point I was like, I don't even want to play this game anymore. Like I was talking about my my chapter 15 run with Mangs, and he had it on in the background while he was doing other shit. And I was like, dude, you sounded so depressed in that video. It's like, holy shit, it's like someone just died. Because he was listening to me after Asphalt died, just for the context. And I was like, yeah, I was pretty depressed. But this was even worse. It's like, it's not even that the game cannot be completed without Dean. It's not like I cannot win it. I have like plenty of alternatives in the way of like indoor A sword users or whatever. And like, this is probably Dean's best chapter, so I would miss him for this chapter, sure. But it wouldn't be like undoable. I just felt so bad because either I knew I'd have to sit here talking about it like this, or I'd have to hide it, which is even worse. And I decided to, you know, just tell you guys, like, no one was there, no one can prove that it happened, but it did. And pretending otherwise would just be like casting a shadow over the whole Let's Play for me, so I just wanted to be honest about it, but I apologize. I should not have reset the game, but I did. Now, what are we gonna do about it? Because, you know, obviously Dean is here and he's helping me complete the chapter. That's like kind of scummy. Like at the point where I'm playing, I'm just kind of undecided, so it's still kind of affecting me sometimes. I still do some stupid shit because I hate what I'm doing so much. You're not supposed to reset an Iron Man run. If someone's dead, they're dead. You can't just do this, but you know, it's happening. So what I've pretty much decided is that like, I physically cannot bring myself to kill off Dean. It might sound stupid, but I feel so fucking bad for him because the way he died is just so fucking dumb. Like the second time, if that happened, I might have accepted it for like Thracia being Thracia. But the first time it happened, it was just like, it almost felt like it wasn't me playing. I know it's like a stupid excuse, but like words can't even describe it. Basically, it didn't feel like it should have happened, but it did. That's the best way I can probably describe it. It wouldn't have happened if I paid like any amount of attention. It was like a really bad mistake. Anyway, I have decided that from now on, I'm not going to deploy Dean anymore. And as far as the prediction poll goes, Dean will be dead. And I can no longer use him. I can't really undo his contributions for this chapter. He does like a couple things, like visiting a couple of villages. I could have obviously done those with like other characters had Dean not been there, so I don't think it's entirely fair if I like just delete the contents of those villages or something. I don't think that counts. There's no real way to make it right. I mean, there's no way to make this right, period, just because I did reset the game twice, but it's what I did. I could just ignore it. I could just keep using Dean, but I don't want to. That feels like really dirty to me. Anyway, that's one of the reasons I'm splitting this into two parts. I just want to see what your guys' reactions are to this after this. I am continuing to run. I am continuing to go at this Iron Man way. I'm not going to reset again. Like, I've learned my thing, but I shouldn't have done it, and it was stupid. And now we're almost 20 minutes in, and all I talked about was this part, but it was the most important part. Well, and I talked about the chapter, that was important too. Anyway, speaking of post-commentary, I think for the longer maps, from now on I am going to do post-commentary almost always. And the reason for that is, the maps that are coming up after this that are like long are also kind of hard. And I've noticed that like, doing live commentary, it's really affecting my play. And that's like, I talked about this in the chapter 14 video, it's so hard to play this game. But it's already like, part of your brain is already devoted to, oh my god, please don't let anyone die, I swear, if I make a mistake, someone is gonna die, oh my god, it's like so bad. And in the early chapters this wasn't too bad, because, you know, I was very familiar with them for one. I'm less familiar with these, because I'm playing in a very different style than from like Dawnland, for example. I can't really do all of his strategies, because obviously I haven't planned like my starting positions or my warp uses or anything. Well, warp uses isn't a very good excuse, because I have infinite of those, but you get what I mean. I haven't planned ahead, I'm just playing it by ear. I'm not really familiar with like every reinforcements and the way every enemy works. So I think post-commentary is going to be a bit more common from now on, which I think it's a good thing. I think it's definitely one of my strengths, post-commentary, definitely. More so than like live commentary. Like, I could improve at it, sure. If I practice it more, I'm gonna be better at it. But as it is right now, I think I'm better at post-commentary. Mostly because it's easier, but also because, I don't know, it just feels more familiar and more natural to me. And as I say that, I go silent, right? Kind of funny. But yeah. I hope you guys like post-commentary more. And I also think that it's more easy to invite co-commentators if you're doing post-commentary, which I'm considering doing just because it's fun. So definitely thinking about that. But yeah, like, Iron Man, it's like, it's breaking me up almost. Well, I mean, I'm not this like concerned over a video game or anything in a way. Like, it's only really there if I'm playing it or if I'm like working on a video or whatever. But it's really weird how a bunch of like basically images with attached numbers and like a made-up story can start meaning so much to you if you're just playing a game with a different rule set. I think that's like amazing. Like, think about, for example, the story ramifications of, for example, like the Monster group. I think someone brought this up in the comments. They were like, imagine meeting Seth again, or I don't know if they said this literally, but this is what it came to me. Like, imagine we're gonna meet Seth again in like Monster, and he's gonna look at the army. He's like, "Where's Karen? Or where's like Makua? Where's Bryden? Where's Asphel? They're all gone. Like, the only people that are still alive that were with his original group are, well, what's her face? Laura. Like, Laura came in there with like that whole crew, and now all our friends are gone. Like, Laura, if she didn't meet up with like Parn, she would have like no one she knows. Like, that's just sad. I mean, Fergus is alive, but like Fergus and Karen weren't with Seth to begin with, but Karen had like already had like a connection to Seth, which is why I'm like kind of counting her as in the group. But Jesus Christ, that must be like soul crushing for someone like Seth. I mean, the sad thing about Thracia is it doesn't really do that thing that, for example, Path of Radiance does pretty well, where characters react to their friends not being there or whatever. Like in Path of Radiance, I think if Makalov or Marcia gets killed, the other person like reacts differently in certain conversations, and it's really touching. Whereas in like Awakening, everyone just retreats, for example, so they don't need to edit in many extra conversations. But I think those are really a lot more better and more interesting than like what if, I don't know, different like 10,000 different supports per character. I think those are pretty like dumb. But different reactions depending on which characters you're close to died, that's pretty sick actually. It's really cool. I really hope, if there's like one thing they're gonna change in Fire Emblem 16 when it comes to that kind of stuff, I really hope they go back to the direction of like Path of Radiance. I don't think Radiant Dawn does it as much, but Path of Radiance does it a lot. Anyway, I'm just checking the stats of these Armor Knights. These guys all start to move when Size appears on turn 10. A bridge appears between where I am right now and the Armor Knights, like a 3-tile bridge, and they just move over it, and they start to mow you down. And they have like a lot of high attack. And like normally those Armor Knights wouldn't be a problem because I have enough Avoid on my team, but even with all the double Charisma and supports, you really cannot avoid those Armor Knights reliably enough to where you can tank them. And there's way too many of them. You can't really do that. So what I'm trying to do with my squad right here is kind of split them up. I'm gonna have a northern segment that's just kind of hiding away, and then I'm gonna have Nana, Leaf, and Homer, and I think Lara at the left part where the two villages are below the cliff with the Dark Mages. And Nana is gonna go in a spot to lure the Mage Knight reinforcements and use the Earth Sword Wrath to her advantage. That's the way I beat them on my last Iron Man that I did with a guy called the Pugilist. He's on the Smoke on Emblem subreddit, I think, or the Smoke on Emblem Discord. There's no subreddit. I remember when I was playing this chapter with him, or rather, he was playing it, we were like swapping the save file back and forth, and I gave him the save file, and Nana had like, I think it was like 3 or 4 Earth Sword uses, and I was like, hey man, if you want to use like the hammer and staff on the Earth Sword, that's fine, you can do that. He was like, okay, I might do that. And he didn't tell me a whole lot. I skipped a little bit there. I think, yeah, I think the doorbell rang or something. Anyway, he gave me the save file back, and I checked Nana, and she had like 5 or 6 Earth Sword uses left. I was like, huh? What happened? Then I realized, oh, so he used Hammering on it, and then he used like 55 uses of it to kill like everything. It's like, wow, that's amazing. Because we also had Wrath Nana back then, so she did a lot of work. I just thought that was like, that's one of my favorite memories from that playthrough. I don't remember a whole lot else. I do remember that a lot of people died though. Actually, I don't think it was Iron Man, but I do know it was a shared playthrough and it was a lot of fun. Anyway, yeah, the northern segment doesn't really have to do all that much except be safe from the Armor Knights. I think that was their purpose, just staying at the top. Dagdar is deployed so he can lure ballistas and run them out of uses. I have 2 villages to save. I noticed when after I warped Orson that it was like a really good spot for him, right? He has like a forest and access to like Misha on turn 1, I think it was. Or turn 2, whatever the turn he was warped. But then it turned out it was like this little island that he couldn't get off on his own. It's like, damn. Well, good thing it doesn't really matter. You can just kill these pirates. I like how the pirates on NPCs too. That kind of makes no sense to me, because I think there's been like neutral, like enemy pirates before that just go for villages, right? Or enemy thieves. So I don't know why they felt the need to make these like NPCs all of a sudden, just to indicate that they're like neutral. It's kind of weird. But the pirates don't really attack you unless all the villages are taken. I believe that's how their AI works. But yeah, I'm having Leaf and Laura and Nana at the bottom, and Lenone apparently. I remember why Lenone is here because I was skeptical on whether Nana could want to KO even with a Wrath crit with the Earth Sword, so I just wanted to give her an option for magic up, and also it will boost her resistance so that if she gets hit, but she misses because of all the dumb leadership stars, for example, then she would at least not take that much damage, and then maybe she can sustain another hit, and then heal back up again with an Earth Sword crit. Because the whole idea of like Wrath plus basically Nosferatu is that you heal yourself after you get hit back to full, and that way you never die. But yeah, Dean is like a massive asset in this chapter. Next 2 chapters he's a lot worse, because there's like more indoor chapters, more ballistas. Although he's pretty good next chapter. Would have been, I should say. Yeah. This was kind of a dumb move on my part, because this ballista has like 6 skill, and Dagdar only has like 3 or 4 luck, so he could have gotten crit. I think I showed his stats in a little bit. So I should have given him a scroll first. Yeah, so I'm just looking for a scroll to give to him, because I really should have done that to begin with. I think he might have been able to take like 1 ballista crit. I'm not sure though, because the crit formula is kind of wacky. But yeah, this is another reason I wanted to go the A route, is because this guy gives you a rescue staff that you don't get on the B routes. And there's also an extra warp staff, but at this point the warp staffs I have like 1 million. Don't really need those. But it's nice to have, I guess. If someone dies with a warp staff on them or something, it's nice to have extras. But in like 21x I get a bunch of warp staffs, so as long as like both my thieves don't die. I also got like a magic ring from one of these villages. I'm thinking of giving it to Homer because he's been leveling up magic like shit. But I might also give it to Tina because I think she might need more magic to steal a couple of things that I need her to steal later on. Yeah, just giving Nana some scrolls because she's gonna get like a bunch of kills. She's also like level 18, so she's actually gonna cap out level really quickly. As long as she survives, of course. I'm not sure why I'm sending Laura north, actually. It's kind of a dumb move when you think about it. Really don't think there was much of a purpose to the north group. I think what I wanted was to lure the Armor Knights over to the north and then fight them there. Like maybe in a forest. At least I would have more people doing it, and that way at least you know, the group with Nana would be a lot more safe. Because Nana's Earth Sword doesn't really have that many uses left. It has enough for like the Mage Knight group that's coming up, but not a lot else. So it's kind of scary to run out. And if you like break your Earth Sword, it becomes a broken sword. And it doesn't heal HP, it has like 20 weight or 30 weight, and it just wrecks you. It also has like no mites, and yeah, it's gross. Yeah, from here it's just a waiting game. But when that turn 10 hits though, shit is gonna go like hit the fan. It's gonna be really annoying. So until that happens, we should talk a little bit about the poll I made. I'm working on the spreadsheet to finish the results, and I've been working on it for a while, but I'm actually kind of stuck on the formulas to use. So if you happen to be good at Google Sheets and... Oh, I think it's happening. Never mind. Never mind. Yep, it's happening. It's happening. Here we go. Okay, so you get a final warning that, like, Reinhardt's group is coming up. This is such a good piece of, like, story gameplay integration. It's become like a cliche thing saying this about Thracia now, but it's so true. Yep, so they built that bridge there, and these armor knights start moving towards you. And you have like battle axes, I think javelins, and I don't know, great swords, I think. So they like 4-hit KO your most bulky characters. At least mine. And you can see this ballista got like plus 40 hit or something. Leadership stars are insane. Size is 10 stars, so I think that means plus 30 hits, if my math is correct. This is something I forgot. He has a sleep staff. I was not prepared for this. So now Orson is reduced to have 0 in everything except, I think, HP, luck, and build. So everything can, like, steal his shit, attack him, try to capture him if they have higher build. But this pirate attacks him and somehow misses, even though Orson is, like, taking his snooze with 0 speed. Impressive. The pirates don't get Sias's leadership bonuses. And the Dark Mages also don't, because they belong to a different army. But yeah, you can hear the Your Fuck music playing. So now I'm just counting squares. What I'm trying to do is get the Armor Knights to go north, so that Leaf's group, which is like mostly fragile units, doesn't have to deal with them. I completely forgot about that sleep staff. You'll also notice he has like 3 movement stars, so he could put 2 people to sleep if he gets lucky. Of course, he'll also use Fortify if he can. Now, thankfully, Sias only sticks around for 5 turns, so if I can survive for those 5 turns, then I'm good. But if I can't, oh boy. Oh boy. Well, then someone dies, of course. I prepared like a long ass list of topics to talk about. But considering how hectic this map becomes compared to like chapter 14, where my strategy is pretty set in stone, I don't know if I'm gonna get to all these. But yeah, as I was saying, if you're good at Google Sheets and you feel like helping me out with the numbers, then you should hit me up. Like, I read all the comments, so you could do that, or you can send me a message on Discord. You can find me on the Fort Mang server or on the Fire Emblem subreddit server. Because I've been struggling with it, and I think someone could probably do a more efficient job than me. And I like puzzling, I like working with like spreadsheets, but I've had my fun. Someone else can take over now and help me do it, and I'm happy to learn like how you're doing it, and then do like the grunt work myself if there's any required. But I'm pretty sure there should be an easy way to do this, an easier way than I did. The way it works is the Google Sheets, the Google form that I used outputs a Google Sheet that has like all the answers that people gave to the polls, and it doesn't really make sense for me to like explain how the data is stored. You just need to take a look at it yourself, but if you're interested, then just hit me up. Anyway, Orson got rescued out of his like precarious position, and I'm considering like restoring him. I have a restore staff on Serum. Well, that's my only one. It's the one I got from the church from the bishop. So I'm trying to think like, do I trade it over now, or do I just keep Orson asleep? But my problem is that if Orson is asleep, it's not that big of a deal. But if Sai starts putting more people to sleep, that could be annoying. And as a refresher, the sleep staff, its highest priority is on people with high HP, which is why I'm kind of surprised he went for Orson and not Dagdar. Maybe Orson has more HP at this point, I'm not sure. Either way, I know that my low HP units are safe. I just know that my high units, my high HP units have a chance of getting put to sleep. And I don't really want to waste restore staff uses, but you know, status doesn't heal in this game, not automatically. You can only cure it with like a restore staff. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna need Orson for the rest of this map. And here come the Dark Mages. Now these Dark Mages, they all have rewarp staff, so they can reinforce and move on the same turn, but they cannot like rewarp and then attack you. They don't have movement stars. These Armor Knights do, by the way. They all have one movement star each. At least, like, it's either that or they have a leadership star, but I'm pretty sure it's a movement star, because I would have noticed the leadership star, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, here comes Sias for his next victim, and he's going for, like, Fergus, which is... it could be worse. Like, it's a unit I'm definitely gonna need to restore, but at least Sias is close to a restore staff, so it's not too big of a deal. You can see that the Dark Mage decided to just walk. I have no idea how exactly their AI works. Like, knowing Kaga, I suspect it's just random. He either doesn't move, or I don't know if they have a chance not to move, but they either rewarp to like a spot that they find convenient, or they just walk towards you, basically. And this guy decided, you know, I don't really feel like using this rewarp staff to save like 10 turns of walking. I feel like getting some exercise today. Okay, so we get Fergus back up. Now the annoying thing about Fergus being put to sleep is that he's actually not mounted anymore. So he cannot Canto. And I was actually kind of counting him on using Canto, but he can swap the restore staff to Laura. And that actually allows me to do a pretty neat trade, rescue, trade, chain thing. I was pretty proud of that one. I think at this point I've decided to restore Orson, and then since Sias decided to target Orson first last time, I'm pretty sure he's gonna do it again. This was a pretty dumb mistake. I'm like, yeah, I need to restore him. Oh wait, I'm not moving a staff user, I'm moving Dagdar. God damn it, it's so dumb. Like, this is one of those things where my mind was obviously still with Dean and that whole fiasco. Like, what the fuck did I just do? Sloof is so good. Like, I'm not gonna say he was worth going to A route all by himself, because we all know what that got me, but having extra staff user is so cool. He's like completely free. A staffs, high magic, high enough skill not to miss, movement stars. What more could you ask for? I think Sloof is actually the only unit in the game besides Ronan to have 3 leadership stars, or 3 movement stars. Exactly 3. There's a lot of people with 1, a couple with 2. And a whole bunch of them with like 5, like Tina and Parn, and then there's one more. But yeah, so those Mage Knights come from like the south, from where I started, and my original idea was I'm gonna wait until they come, and I'll have like a turn warning, because they have to move through a bunch of force if they want to get to me, or like move over all the bridges and like do like a little U-turn. So I have some time on like to wait until they're close, and then I can use magic up to maximize its potential. I'm not afraid they won't attack Nana for having too high magic, because she only has 5 magic. So even with the magic up, she will have 12 magic, and the Thoron Tome alone has like 18 might. So doing 0 damage is not going to be a concern for them. They're going to attack Nana, no problem. The only thing I'm worried about is like Nana missing, or Earth Sword running out, or their AI just completely doing something different, just like the stupid Pegasus Knights. That would be so terrible. In other news, because this game is taking its time, although I think the Mage Knights are coming up this turn. In other news, come on, end your turn already. I want to know if I can talk about the next thing or not. Can I? Yep, looks like I can talk about the next thing. So here's like the group of Mage Knights. They also have like, they have Thorons and Rapiers. But as long as Nana is not at their 1 range, they cannot attack her. They cannot attack her with a rapier, I mean. But yeah, you can see that these characters are all talking about Reinhardt. If you're like a player of Heroes, you probably know Reinhardt. And he was supposed to be in this battle, but apparently he went to Ishtar because he was worried about her. Reinhardt is actually a very amazing, like he's a very cool character from Thracia. Well, not cool is not the best way to describe him, but I don't really want to spoil anything about him if you don't really know anything about him. There's some users on Reddit that have made like really cool essays about Reinhardt and why he's a good character. It's pretty subtle the way they wrote them. And it's not hidden in a bunch of supports, which is always a really strange defense of like some really stupid units. Anyway, so these Mage Knights, as long as they if they cannot attack Nana up close, they cannot use their rapier, so they have to use Thoron, and that way they have to deal with 5% weapon triangle. Nana will counter them at range with her Wrath, and she can kind of force them to not attack from the forest. Originally I was hoping that Nana could use a forest to her advantage, but it looks like there's not really an option. And the problem is I don't want to fight the Armor Knights and the Mage Knights with Nana at the same time, so I gotta find a way to get these Armor Knights somewhere else, but it's kind of hard to get close to them to the point where they will move towards the northern group, but not so close that a movement star or 2 will fuck me up. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting Leaf at a point where they might want to like move towards him through the forests. I think I should have moved him in that position a turn earlier so that they would have gone north right away. But what's done is done. And Fergus also brought back the Magic Up Staff so that Lenoan can use it on Nana. Because I thought I had it on Lenoan at first, but then I remembered I had to do that silly trade thing turn 1 because Lenoan missed the Magic Up, so Sloof I think had to take her the Magic Up. But yeah, I'm gonna check the Thoron like a million times to make sure that it has the might that I think it has. It also has 20 crits, so it's really important to have a scroll on the characters you're using to deal with them. Because holy god, if you get crit by a Thoron, you're probably dead. But yeah, Nana's probably ready for this. I think she takes like 8 damage or something from a Thoron. The Mage Knights aren't like all that strong statistically, it's just that the Thoron tome is really strong. And there's just so many of them that someone with low resistance just gets like overwhelmed very quickly. They also have like the good kind of Kanto, so they can move after attacking. So now I'm just trying to decide, do I get in range this turn? Can I get in range this turn? I don't think I can really, like get attacked by anyone this turn. There's a lot of forests anyway. Mounted units do take pretty heavy movement penalties. And Asai's is done using sleep, but he still has to fortify to heal a lot of people. This is not really, like, it's not nearly as big of a concern. Killing these pirates is like not really consequential, but you know, you never know what might happen if I let them go. They might go for a village, they might capture one of my staff users, so I just kill him with Dean. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I didn't really want to live commentate this chapter. Is I'd have to think over these moves quite a bit before I was sure that I was like ready to make this move. Because if you make the wrong move in this chapter, you just kind of roll over and die. As I've demonstrated before, small mistakes can be fatal, but in this case I think we're talking like multiple characters dying just because their position is so poor. You can basically checkmate yourself. And here's when the Dark Mages realize, oh shit, I have a rewarp staff, I can use it. And I really should. And these guys like, I can see that, let me try. Oh fuck, I can't do it. Shit, I can't do it. And then he just stuck on the cliff. That's kind of funny. But these Dark Mages kind of throw a wrench in my plan. My original plan, I think at this point, was put Fergus on the bridge to protect my frail units from the Armor Knights. And that way I can take care of the Mage Knights with Nana, and I can take care of the Armor Knights with Fergus. But with the Dark Mages, Fergus gets 2-hit KO by those. And even though the Dark Mages, I don't believe they get the hit bonus from Sias, they still 2-hit KO Fergus at like 10, 20, maybe 30 hit rates. But Fergus can kill at least one. And, you know, Laura is there, so I have the potential to kill both of these Dark Mages. Thankfully, one of these Dark Mages fails to rewarp over there. I think if I had to deal with 3 Dark Mages, this would have been very tricky. Yeah, 17 hits, so they're definitely not getting a hit bonus from Sias. It just, you know, it's convenient. I don't think it matters a whole lot, because Fergus can one-hit KO with the Brave Sword, like the single hit of the Brave Sword. At least some of them, I believe. Not this guy, apparently. They have like huge variants, but the other guy, I think he one-hit KOs with the Brave Sword. It's just so funny, this rewarp miss. How do you miss yourself? Like, I guess that he just... I can see like magic lore-wise being a kind of thing where sometimes you just fail at pulling off the spell. Kind of like failing to do something in gym class, or failing to recite a proper thing on like an oral exam. I guess it's kind of like that. I was like, I could maybe save Brave Sword uses, but I don't think this is the time to worry about saving uses on weapons. That's the kind of thing that just gets characters killed for no reason, and you could just kind of wonder, like, you know, why didn't I just, you know, equip the King's Sword, you know? But yeah, this is definitely the time to use Magic Up, and thank God I didn't miss. If I did miss, I actually had Homer and Leaf available to do a bit of a trade to make it so that... well, actually, that's a lie. I mean, who else is going to use Magic Up, right? I think originally my plan was for Salem to do it, but Salem is not in the South group. So yeah, just checking ranges of these Mage Knights. See, like, how many of them am I going to take on at a time. I don't want them to attack for a forest, but it looks like that's what I'm going to let them do anyway. I think I just don't want them all to take me on one turn, so I'll just take a couple on a forest and hope that the hit bonus from Leaf and the King's Sword and the support is gonna carry Nana to victory. Like, hit rates from the player sides aren't really the problem. The problem is that the enemies have a lot more hit. But in Nana's case, if she hits the opponent, she's just pretty much fine. Just don't get a 99 miss and she's fine. And Fergus, the other thing is I don't want him to stay equipped with the Brave Sword. Because then he just, A, he breaks it, and B, he kills a bunch of guys, and because of that, he leaves them space to get it to like attack him from. So, thankfully, I have Homer available. In hindsight, this is actually pretty risky of me, because some of these knights have javelins, which for some reason I didn't remember. Like, I somehow completely missed that, but some of them do have javelins, and they could attack Homer. But thankfully, they move in a way that's not that dangerous. Here I decide, I think that it's time to restore Portion, maybe not, whatever. I should just let the chapter speak for itself. I've been watching some Deltray lately. He does some pretty interesting editing. He edits out basically all the uninteresting parts. But I feel like transparency is important for this kind of run. So I'm not sure how much more editing I want to do. Like, I used to be all like, hey guys, if you want different kinds of editing, just tell me. But now I'm more like, I'm just gonna do it one way, and if I get a lot of backlash for it, then maybe I'll change my ways. Like, I always take feedback into account, but I think relying on other people to tell you exactly how to do your videos, that doesn't really speak a whole lot for your confidence, so I kind of stopped doing it. Like, I appreciate feedback, of course, like I always do. But yeah, this is the power of, like, Earthstorp's Wrath. I thought, like, Wrath on Nana has actually been pretty lackluster so far. Ever since I gave it to her, she never really saw all that much action. I pretty much prefer to heal with her and give combat XP to other characters, which I think is fair. Nice miss. This is actually kind of a gross miss, because this allows all of these Mage Knights to, like, ignore Nana and walk on through, and if they get to Fergus, that's really annoying. This mate, just get another attempt at rewarping. But yeah, I was talking about Deltray. He's got a really good voice. I corrected him on something, like I think it was staff misses, and he like made a mention of it in his video. I was like, this is kind of funny. I could listen to him for quite a while. It's pretty funny. Anyway, I mean, like it's pretty obvious what's happening right now. It's just Mage Knight's gonna attack Nana. Hopefully, this Armor Knight goes away. If he doesn't leave, oh boy. But the Armor Knight attacks first, then the Mage Knight's move. So I think as long as Nana doesn't like double miss after this, I think we're okay. And as for Fergus, I just need to make sure that he doesn't die to these Dark Mages. It's kind of tricky, it depends on the order of the enemies, but at this point I know that the Armor Knights move before the Dark Mages, so as long as the Dark Mages cannot attack Fergus because the Armor Knights are in the way, I think we're good. I don't want to attack with Nana here because that would use 2 Earth Sword uses, and I'm trying to conserve them. I think it's actually safer if she counterattacks, because she doesn't want it KO without a crit. So I think this formation is fine. I can even leave where he is. Also, Homer is in a pretty good position to snag some kills, but I'm kind of scared to do it because it will free up more space where enemies can attack him. I mean, well, enemies could attack Homer or Fergus, but at this point I'm mostly afraid for Fergus' sake. So yeah, it looks like I'm like too scared to do it. I'm not going to do it. Oh, I remember what I was doing here. I think I was considering giving Fergus the Fire Sword. Yeah, okay, so what I was doing was, okay, I'm just going to give Fergus the Fire Sword and hope he doesn't kill enough Armor Knights for it to be dangerous, and then the Fire Sword, he should have enough magic to survive the Dark Mages, because by some kind of coincidence he has a Holy Water on him, and he can use that to further boost his magic by like 7 more points, so that's plus 12 magic that he's getting from the Fire Sword and the Holy Water, and that should keep him safe from the Dark Mages. I thought this was an okay move, but I also should have physicked him. I think I neglected to do that. And I also, for some reason, give him an Iron Sword. I think the idea was that he doesn't KO the Armor Knights that way. Overall, I think this was like a very weird mid-ground kind of play in a situation that didn't call for it. But, you know, I think if I equipped the Iron Sword, I would have broken it by killing all these enemies. So, bleh. Still kind of bleh on that one. I think by me saying that, you kind of know that Fergus is kind of safe, but it was still kind of scary. It's kind of weird to do Iron Man post-commentary, because I know this is like intense for you guys, so I shouldn't really spoil survivals like this. Still getting used to it. This is why I did live commentary to begin with. But this is not a chapter I can do live commentary in. I'm sorry. Anyway, while we wait, I'm just gonna talk about heroes. And don't worry, no gacha rants on this one. I'm not gonna like talk about the ethics of heroes for like the 3rd time or the 5th time or whatever. What I will mention is I got a new phone and it runs Heroes. So it's like, you know what, fuck it. I'll download it and I'll like play it so I can talk about it a little better. But I'm not gonna like, I'm definitely never buying anything on Heroes, like fuck that shit. I was like, let me just investigate a little further what the hype is about. And I played it, I was like, I mean, I was just doing like tutorials and checking this stuff out. And for a new player coming into Heroes, like first off, there's like so much shit you can do. Like it's kind of off-putting actually to me how many things there are in Heroes right now. Like if you're a new player right now, you should be very confused. I would not be surprised. And also, I didn't find it very engaging. I think the weapon triangle plays like a way too big of a role in it, to where you're basically just like Fire Emblem has always been pretty heavy about the weapon triangle, especially the later parts. But holy god! Oh, this is important. We gotta watch this. Sorry. Alright, so Sias is gone, yay. This was actually something I was checking for a lot. He leaves at the start of the enemy phase, so that means that these armor knights actually stop having insane hit. Yeah, you can see that their hit actually went from whatever it was to 18, and there's the proof that they have a movement star. But apparently they didn't proc it all along, which I'm very happy about. I don't think there were many occasions where a single movement star could have messed me up, but it's always scary. And I think this is the turn where Nana goes absolute fucking ham on these guys. And it's really good timing now that Sias is gone, because now I'm pretty sure she cannot miss unless she gets a 99. Reminds me of like those Pokemon games, the first generation, where you can always miss. But that's like 99.6. I believe 0.4%. But oh my god. I forgot if they like do anything significant here. So much experience, holy god. Really wish I had a better candidate for this. Like, imagine if like Homer had enough attack to take these guys on. He doesn't. What Homer would do is like he would sort of survive a hit with a magic up, then he'd like do a very weak counter attack, and he'd be done. You're like, that didn't accomplish anything. My Homer is now weakened, and his Mage Knight is still there, and he could attack Fergus somehow if he clears out these Armor Knights. So even though Nana caps out a level here, I think this was the right choice. I think this was also showing that like Wrath on Nana was definitely the right choice. I could have done Wrath Lenoan, but I didn't get the Resire Tome. If I had the Resire Tome, Wrath on Lenoan would have worked. But this was definitely the way to go here. What a relief. Well, it's like, it's not over yet. Don't get me wrong. I was relieved that this part was over, but it's still kind of tricky. There's still Dark Mages that can like rewarp all over the place. They chose like kind of dumb places to go though. Yeah. Muller, yeah, he doesn't have a movement star, thankfully. He just has 3 leadership stars, which is a joke compared to what we're used to by now. If we can survive under 5 leadership stars, we're good. You can tell that the music has gone back to being good too. But yeah, Heroes, like, even if it wasn't gacha, I don't really like it as a game. I know it's just a mobile game, I know it's like lower standards or whatever, but I don't really like being on my phone all that much anyway. It's kind of a small screen, you know? So, I don't know, if I'm on my phone and I'm like bored, I prefer to just read on Reddit, read stuff on Reddit or something. I don't know, like, I pulled like, because I got some free summons, right? So I pulled like Hawkeye and Thracia and Seth. I was like, could be worse. I mean, I don't like Thracia all that much, but it was pretty funny to see her pull someone like that. But then Hawkeye and Seth are 2 characters I actually really like, mostly for gameplay reasons. But I was using them, I was like, I didn't really feel like them, you know? It didn't really feel like those characters to me at all. It just felt like images that were being used of those characters. That's probably like my bias against heroes shining through, but that's like a more uplifting topic on heroes. I still have a video idea like lying around waiting to be used about heroes, and I need some help with it. And I don't mean like the Google spreadsheet help, I mean like I need someone to be willing to be on this video with me, and it needs to be someone that's as unfamiliar with Fire Emblem Heroes as it can be. I actually would prefer to have 2 people, maybe even 3. I think the ideal number is 2. It could also work with 1. So it needs to be someone who knows very little about heroes. Gameplay doesn't matter a whole lot about heroes. Mostly like the characters and their lines. So like their voice lines and their storylines, basically their 5-star lines, that kind of stuff. You need to be as unfamiliar with those as possible. So the less you know, the better. If you think you're the person I'm looking for, and if you think you don't know enough about heroes to be on this, then same thing as for the Google Sheets. Hit me up on Discord, post in the comments, talk in the Discord channel, Mekkah's Prison Cell on Fort Mangs, and you know, if I'm like already familiar with you, with like your name or something, like if I already talked to you before, you're probably more likely to be able to help me out with this. Also, you need to have like a decent microphone. I know it sounds kind of hypocritical, but yeah, you might like make like a voice appearance in a video I want to make. I'll tell you the details if I think you might be a good fit. But yeah, let's think about it. I mean, if I can't make this video, I can't make this video, but I kind of want to make this video, so I'm just gonna put it out there. I know this is not the best place to make this call, like 1 hour into a super long video that not everyone is gonna watch. But we'll see what the results are. I mean, I have enough project lined up. I don't need this video to come out right now, but I just thought I'd put it in here because I need time to fill. But yeah, if you're unfamiliar with heroes, hit me up. Because you can tell the rest of the chapter is fairly straightforward. There's no more reinforcements. The only threatening enemies left are really the Dark Mages and these Armor Knights. This is actually a pretty scary enemy phase. Because Fergus has so much crits. I think at this point he has 20 skills, so he crits every second hit. So all these guys can attack him. And you know, I'm not afraid of like Armor Knights with 18 hit that do 7 damage to him. But these Dark Mages, oh boy, they scare me. Scare me quite a bit. He still has a bit of a holy water boost, so being attacked by a Dark Mage isn't fatal or anything. They do poison him though, that's pretty annoying. This is why I'm also like luring away some of the enemies here. Mostly the ranged ones. Because I want things to be safe for Homer, so he can get some more EXP. So, I gotta say something else. Shadow Dragon being over is so weird for me. Like the Shadow Dragon Let's Play. That was like the final chapter. If you haven't seen the stream of that, oh boy, that was amazing. It was 4 hours of like the greatest hits almost of that Let's Play. Because, you know, we had Setger back with like the Alm Staff. And we had like literally every character that we could ever want to deploy pretty much in there, like all the memes and all the good forges were back with the hammer, and it was just the best time. It was one of the best final chapters I have ever seen played. I have actually never seen a proper playthrough of the final chapter of Shadow Dragon. I think many people haven't because it's warp skipped so often. For good reason, because it's, you know, it's legitimately bullshit difficulty. Mangs did play through it pretty well once he figured it out. And holy shit, it was so funny. Like, I can't believe that this obscure fanfic from this one guy, Rad Quets. Like, Rad is a meme now, and Rad is a character that literally has no lines besides his, like, death quote. It's so silly how that guy evolved. Holy shit, Rad Quets. Definitely gonna do some more fanfic reading of that at some point. Sounds like a good way to fill time with these videos, too. Also, I think it's funny, like, I watched the intro compilation that Mangs made, and I posted, like, my top 5. I don't remember it at the top of my head. Oh, here's the boss. He's, like, whatever. You might be wondering why Nana's animations are off. It's because she's a healer. So, and also, I don't really like the Nosferatu animation anyway. It's kind of annoying to watch, and it would make the video longer. And we all know we don't like long video length, right? So that's why we got this. That's why we got animations off for Nana. I think that's perfectly fine. Anyway, I like how the intros evolved from like just silly editing on the Fire Emblem anime to like gameplay memes, basically. Like gameplay memes edited into random footage of random shit. And then at the end it was like random clips of me or whatever. Like, that's only possible after you're already pretty far into the Let's Play. So I think the fact that it went from kind of predictable, well, sort of predictable memes about 5 points or whatever, to things that were relevant to the Let's Play was pretty cool. It was pretty funny to see them evolve over time in that, like, 30-40 minute video. But nothing ever beats the one where Julian just runs away because he doesn't want to free me because I called him a bad unit. That's like... That's my kind of humor. Basically, Mang's humor is not always my kind of humor. I'm always like kind of facepalming sometimes when he's just memeing around or whatever. I mean, I don't mind it, so it's whatever, it's what he does. Sometimes it's funny, but that was like, that's my kind of humor. That's really fucking funny. That was like a piece of really clever editing. I like that one. Definitely one of the best intros ever. But yeah. So something else I wanted to bring up while we're waiting for all these freaking enemies to clear out. A lot of people know I'm like the same Mekkah from Smogon. Like I used to be an admin there. I used to be like very active. I might still have the highest post count. I have no idea. People would like ask me like, how did you get such high post count every once in a while? Probably because they just saw my name at the top of the list somewhere. And like, I don't know. I've just been around for a very long time. So I post, if you post like semi-regularly, but you do it for like 8 years or whatever, you'll easily get the highest post count. Like I never spammed or anything, except for like maybe on my days off if I had nothing to do. And even then, I would never spam. I always try to have like good content. But one forum I was very active on was the Orange Islands forum, which is about in-game discussions. So most of Smogon is like competitive based, but they made room for like a sort of casual community about just, you know, playing the Pokemon games. I thought it was pretty cool. And one thing we did there, which you know, is why I'm bringing it up, is like in-game tier lists. So like debating about which Pokemon are better than other games in game. And the reason that was like started being a thing because someone like Smogon was like, we were talking like chill on the channel, and someone mentioned like Dratini in Pokemon Gold or Crystal or whatever, it's like low tier. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense because it like it quote unquote, excuse me, it joins late, and it has like shit stats. It's like under leveled, so it's really bad. And I was like, hey, you could actually make a tier list like that. And there you go. That's how I started making tier lists for like in-game Pokemon shit, and it was really weird. And I think I've talked plenty about Fire Emblem character debating, and a lot of people think that's silly because like, why would you argue about the internet about like Fire Emblem characters? I mean, the games are pretty easy, right? I mean, once you're familiar with them, the games aren't very hard. You can complete it with like any team. So why is it worth debating? Now imagine this about Pokemon, a game that like literally anyone can beat because Pokemon games are super easy, especially the latest installments. Like holy shit, they're so easy. But it was so much fun. it's so nerdy, but it's so much fun. Like availability and like comparing Pokemon in different gyms and shit. It's so funny. And you can see like the people who really enjoyed this were people who already did this kind of stuff for Fire Emblem, like Colonel M and some guy called 7 Deadly Sins. I think some Pokemon players might remember him because he's very old at this point. Yeah, something else I've been doing, well, not lately, like something else I've always been doing is like playing Pokemon TCG. I play like PGTO every day. I've made some videos about it, but they don't really get that many views. So even though they're easy to make, for the most part, they're not really worth my time very much. It's more like, I'm doing this anyway, might as well record it or something. Like, I enjoyed making those legacy videos, but if no one is watching them, like, what's the point? Some people will watch me play like anything, I know that, but some people, they're just not into that. They just want to watch me play Fire Emblem, or they just want to watch Pitfalls. I have like a lot of different kinds of people watching my stuff now. Anyway, the point is, if you've been wondering where those are, that's kind of what happened to them. But I do still play PTCO plenty of times, mostly the legacy format. I'm really pissed that they like killed off the legacy format. Well, they didn't kill it off, but like they stopped producing tournaments for it because, and this is citing them. There was like a waiting list every time you tried to like enter one of these spontaneous tournaments. And generally, it took like 30 minutes for one of them to get started, like 8-man tournaments, whereas the ones for like the more standard formats, like the standard and the expanded formats, those were like starting almost instantly because there's someone playing them almost all the time. But Legacy was like more rare because not a lot of people have the cards for it, since you need like very old cards. But they like killed off the entire support for it because people wouldn't find it fun to wait a lot. But I was like, it's their own business if they want to wait a long time. Like, it doesn't hurt anyone. I guess it hurts them to keep up the servers and like keep up the support for it, but I just thought that was a very, very strange move. And it sucks because now it's a lot harder to get the cards for Legacy, like in unlock packs. You can still buy packs now. In fact, that was the dumbest thing. One problem with Legacy was always it was hard to get the cards because you couldn't buy packs in the store using the coins from the in-game currency. And PGTO in-game currency is actually very easy to earn. If you just play a lot, you can get tokens pretty easily. That's what the in-game currency is called, tokens. But they never gave you like the ability to buy any pack you want from the old sets. But then they did it, they added that, and in the same update they killed Legacy tournaments. So they basically gave people an incentive to play Legacy, and then took away all incentives to play Legacy competitively. It was the dumbest thing ever. I love Legacy so much, but because of that move, I'm probably not gonna make Legacy Duck profiles again, as much as I love the format so much. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't play just Legacy, but Legacy is my favorite format by far. Expanded format and Standard are like pretty explosive at this point. I mean, I don't hate Zoroark decks or anything, like Zoroark GX is like one of the best cards ever. It's kind of fun, but you know, at some point you just get tired of it. I also rewatched like the finals of US Nationals 2014 the other day, like Michael Pramawap playing Pyro against Brandon Salazar, I think his name was. That's kind of sad, no one knew Brandon Salazar at the time. Even though he won Nationals with this deck, his Landorus, Garbodor, Raichu deck. It was a pretty cool deck. But so was the Power deck. It was really good. And it was a good finals too. It's pretty intense. Yeah, Pokemon TCG is so much fun. It's really luck based though. It's not like as much of a skill ceiling as you would hope there to be for Pokemon TCG. But that keeps it dynamic, so it's kind of fun to watch too. I mean, if you want to see me make Pokemon videos, then you need to make some more noise about it, because I love doing it. Nice rewarp location, my friend. Really well done. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about this, but I'm sure you've noticed that. I'm using Safi to attack, which I thought was pretty hilarious. She's like the best person to take on these guys on enemy phase, because she has like a million magic. I mean, the magic up has worn off by this point, like it's long gone. But she still had like 50 magic or something. Yeah, we're checking if Dean could make it and then fly back. I think, yeah, the final conclusion is that Safi just needs to lure this guy or something. It's kind of tricky to do. I don't want to leave this guy alive because he can like attack a couple of my people that I don't want to get attacked. The most annoying thing is the poison, actually. That's why I don't like it. I think that's also why I decided not to attack with Dean. The poison from the Dark Mage is just so annoying. If you're stalling out a map like this, you're taking a long time, then a poison can actually kill you if you don't heal. But my healing supplies are limited. I think at this point I decided for myself, like, if Dean gets hit here, I'm just gonna let him die. And it will be justice. And then Dean decided, no, we're not doing that. I cannot emphasize enough how bad that whole ordeal makes me feel. And if I thought it would be better to just, you know, not mention it, I would. But, you know, that's not how I was raised. Fergus, you need to hurry up to get some kills, my friend. I'm definitely gonna cut short, like, the next part of the video. Because all I really have to do now, after this is over, this clearing of the enemies, is climb up the hill. I think it's really cool that they put the castle you have to seize on a hill. And, you know, in real life, it would be pretty tough climbing a hill while there's enemies on top of it that would, like, try to keep you down with, like, long-range weapons. And, you know, in this game, it doesn't matter if the land is flat or going uphill or downhill or whatever. It's not like Radiant Dawn where you get, like, a bonus from height or something. But in this case, it's actually very hard to go uphill because you're not in range of your enemies for quite a long time, and at many points of time, you're facing down a bunch of leadership stars. So the enemies actually get a huge hit advantage of you, not from being up the hill, but it coincides with them being on the hill. So I think it's still pretty neat. I think I'm also pretty amazed at this point that Safi is not fatigued. But I guess she didn't do a whole lot yet. She didn't even warp this chapter. These Dark Mage reinforcements just keep on coming. I think that was the most annoying part. Excuse me, I just ate, I think I just ate too much. There was one point when I was recording with Mangs, and I just randomly said, excuse me, and he thought I had to go or something. I had to, like, be right back. But I was just burping into the microphone and didn't hear it. That was the dumbest thing ever. But yeah, Shadow Dragon was, like, so much fun. And Path of Radiance, I think, is going to be a lot more room for banter between me and Mangs, which I've personally always enjoyed, just rambling on and on about things and just having conversation. And it's also kind of fun that Mangs is, like, he's either so good at, like, rambling while playing. I mean, not that play is, like, high quality or something, but he's, like, very practiced at it. He can just talk out of his butt. I talked about it before, you already know about it. It's just someone you can have a conversation with, basically, about Fire Emblem while he's playing Fire Emblem. And I also think something that I haven't mentioned a whole lot, but talking about potential moves to be made to someone while playing Fire Emblem, or while a game of Fire Emblem is being played, is like so interesting. Also, holy god, ooh, this is a scary enemy phase. Ooh. Because, you know, Fergus killed too many of these guys, and now there is a bunch of Dark Mages in range. So maybe I should shut up and, I don't know. I mean, Fergus does have +3 move, so he's like not immortal. We all know what happens to people who get move level ups, right? But they only have 1 hit, so there's no way that's gonna happen, right? That would be like, after dodging this first one, that would be like a, what is it, 0.01% chance? Is it 0.01? I don't know, I'm not very good at math on the fly. Either way, Fergus can die. He could potentially die. It's not gonna happen, of course, but he could have died. In theory, if he got hit more by like a lot of these armor knights. Thankfully, if like, this is why you don't want to take these guys on when their leadership stars active, because then this would have been a hell. As is though, I think this is fine. If the Dark Bishop on the hill, the guy that's been like sleeping for like 20 turns, if he had leadership stars, oh nice miss, nice reward miss. If that guy had been sleeping, or if that guy had leadership stars, I would have captured him earlier with Dean. But as was, I didn't see the need to capture him and take up his inventory right now. I think it's one of the few instances at this point in the game where you can get Fenrir. Well, I guess I could have captured the 14x guy. Fenrir is like impossible to use because you have to, like, the only person who could even use it is Salem. But anyway, this is about the end of this first video because I know that the rest of this was mostly paused and I'm gonna just end it in post-production. But thank you guys so much for listening to me rambling. There's gonna be more Radio Mekkah about this chapter later because, you know, I still have some hill climbing to do. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.